why we have 3-point contact and we tie ourselves off when we're above 6 feet in construction. So this video is just meant to be an overview that will lead into or preview of the other lecture, the actual lecture that's posted, but I wanted to go over some things because I've kind of updated how I do things in this class. So we're going to talk about falls like we did with musculoskeletal, and then I'll get into the resources. So for this part, different from ergonomics, OSHA does have an entire subpart dedicated to walking working surfaces. And you can see it here. It's 1910-21 through 1910-30. Covers everything from ladders to stairways to scaffolds to fall protection and training requirements. They also have a Safety Health Topics page for fall protection. There's a lot of information outside of OSHA as well. There are at least 4. I just searched up 4 basic ones, ANSI standards and an ASTM. So the ladders package is here. You can look it up. Search ANSI ladder standards package and you'll find it. It talks about proper setup and the ratings and things like that. And that's something you're probably going to need to figure out for the assignment this week. So kind of giving you a heads up there. Similar to before, so we know slip, slips, and falls are the number 2 cause of non-fatal workplace injuries and illnesses. Again, these are old, but it's still a prevalent issue. Okay. For fatalities, we didn't have that with ergonomics, but for fatalities, it is number 2. Transportation is 37%, slip, trips, and falls are 17%. So it's definitely an issue. From a cost perspective, similar to ergonomics, they had 3 in the top 10. Falls also have 3, but there is this fourth, that I wouldn't count as fourth. Okay, I wouldn't count as fourth, but sometimes people, when they're working at heights, drop objects, and those objects can strike people in the head. And that's not the totality of this, but just I want you to be aware that 3 point something. But we'll just say 3 for discussion's sake. As far as the most frequently cited standards top 10, there are 4 of them. There are 4. So it's definitely an issue that you're going to have to deal with no matter what. I was also able to do a search for the type of citations. And again, this is fiscal year 23 to 24, I believe. So for general industry, 1910-22, which is the general, there were this many citations, this many inspections, and just under 3 million in citations. I searched them all. For ladders, it was, here you see the numbers already, and you can see which industries. I tried to do the top 5 for each. Manufacturing, still first. It went up to 1910-28 because the other ones had less than 100 citations, and so I took those out. So 4.2 million for lack of fall protection or falling object protection. That's the struck by I talked about. 429, which is fall protection systems and falling object protection criteria and practices. Not as much, but they had the over 100, and so I included it. And then finally, there's the training requirements. So again, not as much as the others, but still a lot. So they're citing it a lot. It's causing a lot of deaths. It's causing a lot of non-fatal injuries and illnesses. There's a lot of resources out there. So there are a lot of different assessment methods, and we had covered them in the textbook, you guys. A lot of them. But here's something that I do. I do a pre-climb checklist. Now, for me at home, it's mental. For in the workplace, it is physical. I want to have a document that workers are acknowledging they know the risk of working at height. They know how to set it up properly. And they know that the type of work they do up above may cause problems to the people down below themselves. Are they using the right equipment? Things like that. And then a debrief at the end. Post-climb discussion. What didn't we know? What did we get lucky on? Okay, I think it's really important. I do. Whenever I set up an extension ladder at home, I'm thinking about what am I going to do when I get up there? Am I going to be able to maintain 3-point contact? Am I going to be able to maintain the belt buckle rule, which is not to move the center of my body outside of the rails? If I'm going to use an A-frame ladder, am I setting it up properly? Can I reach things? Are there other objects that I can grab onto that are sturdy, that can help keep me from losing my balance? Things like that. Do I need to have someone hand something up to me once I'm in place? Because I consider a butt and 2 legs as 3-point contact. Do I need to, somehow, if I have to use tools, do I have to tie a rope to it and pull it up once I'm in place? Or how am I going to get it up there? Things like that. If I'm going to use the ladder to reach a height work surface, am I extending it beyond 36 inches? Do I need to secure it? Things like that. If you have workers working at heights regularly, I would consider communication technology and not rely on yelling, so that you can talk to them while they're doing it. It is good to observe the workers to make sure that they're practicing what they indicated in their pre-climb. Do you need to put a wearable technology on them? As far as, how are you assured that everybody's tying off? If they're wearing a personal fall arrest system, is there a plan for if something goes wrong? If somebody's wearing a personal fall arrest system and they fall, it'll prevent them from hitting the ground, yes. But how are you going to rescue them? You got to have a plan in place. Here's additional information from the OSHA website. I'm trying to get you guys to get in there and look things up. I can't remember what the questions I asked, but know that there's a lot of resources. You can just go to the experts. Here's FastSnow. Talked about them before. Here, I know one of the engineers that work for this company, and they helped write a lot of the ANSI standards when it comes to personal fall arrest, and so depending on the sophistication of the work you're doing, you may have to call in the experts. That's just what I'm trying to say. There are other resources as well. You can get specific slip, trip, fall training through OSHA Institute. The state of Wisconsin has really good handouts, and I provided it in Canvas. You can take a look at it. We always get an indication in the wintertime. They always send it out. So what I want you to do, watch the old video. It's 26 minutes. Check out some of these web links just to help you out. I've got other videos to watch. I just showed you at the beginning the fall. Mostly I just want you to understand that preventing slip, trips, and falls, it requires a lot of trial and error. And there's PPE for when you're working at a height, but it's really about gaining the safe practices. You have to integrate an understanding and awareness, a caution into the work they do. So real quickly, I just want to go back to this. So here is if we go to the OSHA page, if we go to standards, laws and regulations, and general industry, we'll get to subpart D. That's our walking working surfaces. I'll zoom it in a little bit. So you can look through these. So things like, general requirements, talks about passageways, inspections, things like that. So I want you to be aware. And also, so we've got ladders. Whenever you've got something highlighted like this, click on it and you can get letters of interpretation and regulations. So somebody asked a question regarding it. Okay? Just something helpful if you need something additional. If the standard doesn't answer your questions. As far as training requirements, I pretty much summarized that because it's actually the right thing to do. I also looked up the industry profiles right here. I typed in everything here, and that's how I got my numbers. So I started out with 22. So that's the first one, and that's the information I found. So that might be helpful too. HSI, they provide online training, and falls are one of them because I had searched it. And then if you want to get a copy of a guide through this diversified fall protection group, you can just type in your information and title and hit it. Of course, they're going to try to contact you to sell it, but these things can be expensive, and so it's just an option. So that's all I had for you guys. I hope this was helpful in sort of an introduction to the other stuff. This is what I'm going to try to do for a few more lectures. Let me know what you think. Thank you. Bye.